Hi everyone. Today I'm gonna share with you some practical tools to turn those goals that you were setting until now into actions by planning and execution. My name is Silvia Vitos. I'm leadership well-being coach and consultant, and I help corporate leaders, senior leaders, and executives live a happier and healthier life by tapping into mental health, physical, emotional, and also spiritual well-being. And you may be wondering what goal setting and planning has to do with well-being, and you will find out by the end of today's session. So yesterday in my live video, I was talking about how to set goals, how to zoom out to then zoom in later on, so that you can see the long-term vision broken down into mid and short-term goals upon which you can build even your daily and hourly tasks. So how to do that? This is what we are going to talk about today. And I'm not sharing anything else than the tools that I am using. And I'm really convinced about that it's efficient if it's used on the right way. And last year, sometime, I implemented that in real depth, and I noticed a huge difference. And this is also something where well-being aspect kicks in, because for me, it was an extreme motivation, an intrinsic motivation, and just helped me stay consistent with whatever I was aiming for by having a clear plan, which I used to and still do today, which I'm revisiting regularly on even daily basis. So how to do that? When you have those long-term goals and you broke it down, the yearly one, let's say, into quarterly, then monthly, then you have a rough idea what is it in to do for this week, let's say, so that you can get a little bit closer to that monthly goal to achieve that, be it financial, be it operational, be it sales, technical, whatever kind of goal it may be. So I would recommend, and what I'm doing, looking at those longer term goals and thinking about what are the smallest actions I could start taking, which will get me a little closer to that long term goal. And with those ideas, it's just like a brainstorming session with yourself or with your team, depends on the context. You just write a list of backlog, and that list can change as you go, but it already gives you a direction. Now, you will most likely have certain elements in your weekly schedule, which are either regular meetings, team meetings, or some other customer meetings, let's say, or other deliverables which are there based on projects or anything that you work with will be relating to that. So definitely you take those elements, whatever you know is coming up throughout the next week. I recommend you to take like 15 to 30 minutes on a Sunday afternoon in a peaceful environment to just tune into your coming week and set yourself up for that week. And this is how I do also my weekly planning session. So then I review my long-term goals. I review that backlog, which are the elements, the tasks I could take on, start with to get me closer to those long-term goals. And then I start putting up, I do it on a whiteboard. You can do it on a piece of paper or in a computer, whatever methodology suits you the most, and put down those tasks or meetings and all those elements that you feel like it's all to be done or looked into during the time of or course of next week. And once you have that list, which feels like it's complete to your best knowledge at the given time, then you can take use of the so-called Eisenhower matrix. You may have heard of that before. I heard of that long ago, but I was not using it. And I tried it out and I was really surprised what a great asset this tool is for the weekly planning. So what you do is there are four quadrants in the Eisenhower matrix based on importance and urgency. So I take that task list and simply evaluate which element will come into which quadrant of the Eisenhower matrix based on urgency and importance. So the first quadrant will be the important and urgent tasks. These are things that really just cannot wait. They have to get done and as soon as possible. So that's the category which you can title like just do it. Just do it. Don't delegate, don't give it to anyone else. Just put yourself behind and get it done. Then you will have the urgent, the important, not urgent quadrant of the Eisenhower matrix, which are things that are really high on the importance level in the list, but it's not yet really under pressure to be done. You still have time to finish it off. Those ones you will schedule in. Just schedule it into your calendar. So group here those task elements which you feel that is evaluated as important, not urgent. Now turning it around, there is the next quadrant, which is about not important, but urgent. And those are the ones which you want to delegate, okay? Find someone who can do it, find solutions to maybe automate those elements, see what you can do to get those done, but it doesn't necessarily have to be done by yourself. And then coming to the last quadrant, which is neither important nor urgent, I mean, you have two choices. Either eliminate altogether, you don't need them, or I like to consider this quadrant as a nice to have, because this is where I also keep the week a little agile. And it's such an important aspect to consider, because I honestly used to be very hard on myself. I'm getting really much better by now and still work in progress. But you know, whenever I put something in my calendar or on my to-do list and I don't get it done, then I get super frustrated and overwhelmed and stressed out that I'm not able to cope up with the list I imagined for myself. And I tend to plan tasks for enough for a week, probably in just one day. And then I wonder how it is that I don't get this done. Notice the well-being element that I'm talking about here, because it's very important to learn to navigate around all these tasks. We are living in such a fast-paced environment, and it's getting faster and faster and faster thanks to the technological developments first and foremost. So we really need to take our own life under control. We need to claim back our power by defining what is it that we really want to and choose to spend the time on, and what is it that we prefer not to. So by keeping that fourth quadrant as a nice to have, it gives you a choice of, yeah, if I get it in, it's great. If not, then it's also fine. Okay, and once you have this clarity with the Eisenhower matrix, you know exactly which are the tasks that has to be scheduled in following which priority. So next step is to just plug it into your calendar. Put it into your calendar, because what is scheduled gets done. And you can also use color codes. I like to even add in, besides the professional and business elements, even the personal life. Because, and I will do another session about this topic, but in my eyes, work-life balance doesn't exist, because this is just a wrong approach. It means that you have something which is really bad, usually work, and then your personal life, which is really good. So you try to take both of them into your life to somehow balance it out. In my world, it's more about work-life harmony. harmony so that you play it like a beautiful music, actually, and incorporate elements. And it may be working from home and taking 10 minutes to just wash the dishes, and that's your 10 minutes break in between writing emails or attending meetings. And you can just beautifully combine elements. And it's also very important that you find your joy and fulfillment in the everyday work that you do, because it just takes up too much of your time, too much of your effort. And once you really love what you do, you just don't work a single hour anymore in your life. And that's the biggest gift that you can give to yourself. It takes effort, it takes time, it takes some process to go through to find the inner self, to find your soul's purpose. And it's honestly worth every single effort, because this is what really brings you into a place where you can truly enjoy the work, whatever you are engaged in and what you do. So coming back to that planning, just to add one more step to it, and another reminder on keeping it agile and flexible throughout the week, because life happens. And sometimes maybe an important and urgent task will just fall out of the sky, which requires your attention. So if you book your calendar back to back and you have no space to create for something like that, it's certainly also not ideal. So this is why the daily reflection and re-evaluation is so extremely important, because that's where you can recalibrate a little bit your weekly schedule and just see whether those things are still relevant or what else may need to be taken care of. Meetings get cancelled, or that also, so it happens both directions, right? You might need to add some additional tasks, and some of those that you planned for may be just taken away or postponed to a later time. So that's how you can really just recalibrate by every day. I prefer end of the day. You can do it end of the day or in the morning, first thing, whatever works for you personally. Most important thing is to just bring in that short attention to reevaluate what's for the day or what's for the next day, and whether it still suits your current agenda and needs. So that's about planning and execution. And another aspect on the well-being note before I close is that I remember the time when I was not doing these weekly planning and daily reflection as such. And I was really often just going with the flow. Means life was happening to me. Means I was basically just giving my power away to my external environment and let everything just happen to me. Whatever was coming, anyone was coming with a meeting request whatsoever or a task, then yes, sure, I will just get it done. And this can cause an incredible level of stress and overwhelm, frustration, which are all a lot of having a lot of negative impact within your physical body. And we want to keep that limited as much as possible. And to do that, this, what I was describing the last 15 minutes or so, is an extremely powerful tool, because the moment you are clear about your goals, about your tasks for the week, for the day, you know your values, you know your boundaries, it serves you like a beautiful compass, because you have now your power. You are in control of your life. You know exactly what you are doing, why you are doing it, how that serves your short, mid, long term goals, visions, dreams. And it will be so much easier to just stay on course. More than that, you will stay so much motivated and consistent, because it keeps you on the toes. It inspires you because you know exactly where it leads to on the long term. So I hope you have some great takeaways from today's live session. If you would like to get a detailed guide about that Eisenhower matrix I was referring to, then just drop me a DM or send a comment with matrix, and I will give it to you completely free and complimentary basis, of course. Have a wonderful day. I will be back tomorrow with New Year resolution and therefore habits related tools, tips, and tactics, how to stay with it, how to make sure that you don't drop the ball after a week or 2 or 3, but you will be able to stick to your New Year resolution if this is something you are into. Have a wonderful rest of the day and see you tomorrow.